found this table at a yard sale for $10. The steel frame looks like it's in really good shape. Clearly the top has seen better days. I was thinking this would be a good opportunity to try a new technique for the top. What I've got here is an acrylic lighting panel, and you've probably seen these if you've ever seen a kitchen from the 80s, you know, the fluorescent light boxes, these sort of diffusers. But I really liked the texture. I think this one's called cracked ice. I'm wondering if I can get this texture onto a panel that we can use for the tabletop. I don't know what I was thinking. I put the packing tape on the side with the pocket holes, but that's not right. It's supposed to go on the outside. The other thing I was worried about was that the acrylic might actually crack when I'm driving the screws. Seems fine. And the mold is the right shape, and we have surfaces that are non-stick, but it is not resin proof, which means that resin can leak out of all of the edges and corners. We've got our mold. It's level in both directions, it's non-stick, and it's watertight. I think we're ready for some resin. So now we need to decide what resin to use. There's a lot here. We've got polyester resin, casting resin, which is the easy cast, art resin, lots of that, as well as the fast cast resin. I think polyester resin would work, and I've got a lot of it, but I also think it smells really bad and it's really brittle, so I don't know if that's a good tabletop surface. So the other thing that I've got up here is a tabletop resin. It's to put a nice glaze on a tabletop, and it's actually, this stuff's actually called tabletop. So yeah, let's give that a shot today. I read the directions. It said don't pour any more than 1/8 of an inch thick at a time, and the math means that that's going to be around 32 ounces. So 16 ounces of resin and 16 ounces of hardener. And we're going to add a good amount of the pigment. These pigments were given to me by a viewer named Ian, and they're just my favorite. They just have such a nice look to them.
Your timer is set for 3 minutes.
Trailer for sale or rent. Rooms to lend 50 cents. No phone, no pool, no pets. I ain't got no sing around, I sing. Perfect. All right. Looks pretty good. I think I might have miscalculated the volume. It's definitely still spreading, but I don't think there's enough here to make 1/8 of an inch. I thought I did that right. 16 by 31 by 1/8 of an inch. But I mean, clearly it's not. So I'm going to mix some more up. All right. This is going to work great. And oh my gosh, it's a first. It's a first. We've got a leak-free mold. All right, this is going to take at least 24 hours to cure, and we'll come back and have a look at it after that. Okay, so this is what I came out to this morning, and you can see the excitement of yesterday is slightly tempered by the fact that I've got a rolling mess here. It did not stay flat, and I'm not sure why. I don't know if it was the heat from the resin that deflected this panel, or maybe the pressure from the mold. But yeah, we're going to unmold it and see what we're looking at. Wow, it works. From a pattern standpoint, it worked really well. It's got a great texture. I love it. I wonder why it warped so badly. Yeah, it's really thick at the edges and then super warped in the middle. You can see it better on this side here. All right. Let me think about that. So, I've decided to try it again. This is Mould 2.0. First thing I did is I bought another one of these, and you can see it's white, but it's the exact same material. The other thing I did was I glued this down to the plywood, so it should stay nice and flat. Second thing I did was I didn't screw the mold through the plastic into the plywood. Instead, it's anchored, you can see here, at the bench. And then I ran the bead of silicone again around the outside, and that seemed to work well. Last thing I did was I sprayed the whole thing down with mold release. You know, it should be good. I've checked level about 100 times. I really liked that color when I was mixing it, but when it came out of the mold, I thought it was too much of the copper, and it wasn't interesting enough, so I'm going to go with a different color. So just like last time, we're going to go for 32 ounces of resin. The difference is that I'm not going to do 64. If we need to make it thicker, we'll do that in 2 pours. Just in case it was the heat from the resin that warped that acrylic and not something physical with the mold. And now we stir. Gosh, I hope it doesn't warp. We'll see what happens, right? I'm not standing on ceremony today. I'm getting it out of the plastic as soon as I can. Just let the resin do its job. Let it flow where it wants to. You can see it has leveled itself out, which is a good sign that our table was nice and level. All set up and flat as can be, which is awesome. So you can actually still see the silicone and this acrylic sheet through the resin, which means it's much more translucent than I wanted it to be. On the second pour, I'm just going to use a lot more pigment and try to make the resin more opaque. We're going to use a lot more this time, now that we know how much we need. That is a lot of blue. As my wife's uncle is fond of saying, temperance in moderation. What a beautiful color. Good. I got most of the bubbles out. Besides, this is the bottom. You're not going to see this. I'm going to walk away, let this cure overnight, and come back in the morning. I guess I'm going to try to pry the whole thing up. This isn't terrifying or anything. There we go. Oh man! We did it!
Oh wow.
Oh,
It's really pretty.
You like the color?
I do.
looks like the ocean.
It does look like the ocean.
So, the only thing is it's got a little bit of flex here in the middle, and so I cut a piece of steel here to length, and we're just going to tack weld that on. I really do love having a welder in the shop. It's great for these kind of projects. I like the color. I'm just going to brighten it up a little bit. Arctic Tabletop. It's got a wonderful texture and sound to it. I'm not going to say I'm happy that the first one failed, but if it hadn't, I wouldn't have gotten this color, and I really like this color. If I had a pool, it'd be a great poolside table. It's definitely going to be an outdoor table for us. You put drinks, food on it. I don't know why I'm listing things you can put on a table. Any tabletop thing, anything you put on a table, you put on this table. Magazines, towels, it's a table. It'll take table stuff. It's my largest resin object I've ever made. I don't know if it's the most resin I've ever poured. It's my largest finished resin piece. Because of the fact that we ended up making 2 of them, I actually used a full gallon of resin. If you were just to make one, half a gallon of resin is what this particular tabletop took. I definitely was a little nervous just with the volume, just with the size of the mold and everything that could go wrong, but I'm glad I did it. It came out really cool, and I hope you like it. Thank you very much for watching. I will catch you guys next time.